In a stunning shift from the Democratic Party, Vice President Kamala Harris is now spearheading the 2024 presidential ticket. But how did we get here? How did Kamala Harris replace Joe Biden on the 2024 presidential ticket? What happened?
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Today, we're going to dive through the political maneuverings that lead us to this point. And who better to guide us than a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist, Seymour Hersh. Hersh, known for his fearless truth-tellings from Abu Ghraib to the Nord Stream pipeline, is now talking about what happened with the 2024 presidential election. His writings may shed light and expose some truths that the powers that be may not want you to hear. If you wonder how Vice President Kamala Harris swapped seats with Joe Biden, you're in the right place. Stay tuned as we unpack the layers that led us to where we are right now in unprecedented waters with not just the first Black, Indian, Asian vice president, but the potential nominee from the Democratic Party for the presidency of the United States. Keep watching because we got the inside scoop. Okay, yesterday, Seymour Hersh released something on his Substack. Check this out. Who in Washington didn't know that Biden was failing? We all did up to a point. I had learned months earlier from a federal official that those in the front rows of university events where Biden was speaking were warned not to move if the president tripped while walking to the podium. Secret Service agents were on hand to pick him up immediately. There would be no front page photos of a college valedictorian helping the president climb to his feet. So everyone surrounding Joe Biden knew Joe Biden was in a diminished capacity. Okay, so we saw it, everyone knew it. It's just the media was told not to really focus on it. And here they said, hey, if he falls, we got this. Don't you help, we'll help. On Monday, July 15, Joe Biden took off on Air Force One on a campaign trip to Nevada. A toss-up state that Biden won in 2020 by a little more than 30,000 votes. On Tuesday, he gave the keynote address to 5,000 members of the NAACP at its annual convention. The next day, the president, apparently stricken while campaigning with a yet-to-be-revealed illness, broke from his schedule and made a police escort race to Air Force One after initially telling police they were headed to the nearest emergency room. So, Joe Biden was going to go to the office. So, Joe Biden was going to go to the emergency room. Something serious happened to Joe Biden. An emergency room trip is diverted to Air Force One, I guess for publicity purposes, right? Because you could very much make up whatever you want when you get to go back to the White House or to a controlled environment. But if you go into a hospital, definitely it's going to be surrounded with all types of journalists, and even some of those journalists are going to report the truth. They're going to be digging. This is going to be front page news. So it was important for the Biden campaign to keep this under wraps. A series of blog posts, local police reports, internet messages, and a report in the Daily Mail disclosed further details of Biden's trip to Las Vegas and his abrupt return home to Delaware. I went over these reports this week with a senior official in Washington who helped me fashion in an account of a White House in complete disarray, culminating in the president's withdrawal from the race. It's a story not unlike 7 Days in May, the Cold War thriller in which a colonel, played by Kirk Douglas, foils a coup staged by a general, played by Burt Lancaster. None of what you read below comes from an official account by the White House. So all of this information that Seymour Hersh is about to report to us did not go through the channels. It's not being spilled by the media, not being spilled by inside the White House. This is confident type information, a source, okay? Said at that point, according to Emily Gooden, a Daily Mail reporter who was in the traveling press pool, the president was deathly pale. And Air Force One flew at maximum speed to Delaware, where the president has a weekend retreat at Rehoboth Beach. The press pool was told that Biden had COVID. Nothing more was said on Air Force One after Biden's return to Delaware. The White House told the public that Biden had contracted a COVID infection and would be in isolation. He was said to have upper respiratory symptoms. a runny nose, a cough, and was fatigued. So that was the official information that they put out about Biden. That was the last straw for a core group of congressional leaders, government officials, and some senior Biden funders who were withholding huge amounts of committed contributions. There was pressure on donors to come across on their pending commitments, the official told me. It was understood that Biden had a physical problem in Las Vegas, and the family was saying no to continue pressure from donors and senior Democrats in Congress to withdraw from the presidential campaign. Initially, the president could not be reached. So they're pushing Joe to drop up, man. Like, whatever's going on, Joe, this ain't good. Get out the race. But by Saturday, July 20, former President Barack Obama was deeply involved. And there was talk that he would place a call to Biden. It was not clear whether Biden had been examined or just what happened to him in Las Vegas. The big three, the official said, referring to former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Senate Majority Leader Charles Schumer, and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, continued to be directly involved. On Sunday morning, the official told me, with the approval of Pelosi and Schumer, Obama called Biden after breakfast and said, here's the deal. We have Kamala's approval to invoke the 25th Amendment. The amendment provides that when the president is determined by the vice president and others to be unfit to carry out the powers and the duties of his office, the vice president shall assume those duties. So what's happened is clear, crystal clear. Obama put the word in to Joe Biden and let him know in no uncertain terms his time was up. That's it. They're not going to take the L, not only because he's going to lose to Trump, or the potential to lose for Trump is so bad, they got to shift the paradigm. We got donors who are going to stop giving money to the party. They've already stopped. And they're really pushing, like, what are we doing with this guy, Joe Biden, on top of the ticket? You just don't have it. We got pressure also from within the Democratic Party itself, from Congress people who are down ticket, important races. And they're saying, hey, Joe Biden's going to drag down the rest of the ticket. There's no energy, no positive energy. Now we got Joe Biden, and now you got Joe Biden with an illness, on top of the horrible debates, on top of the bad polling. So this is what pushed Joe Biden. Joe Biden had to make a decision. Does he want to get the 25th Amendment? Does he want to be the first president yanked out of office? Forget running again. Forget a second term. Challenging Trump to a second term. Imagine being the first president pulled out of your position because of incompetency. That's a stain on the rest of your record. That's your legacy. When they talk about legacy and they say they don't care about legacy, BS. You don't become 80 and then not care about how you're going to be remembered in history. When he finally put out that tweet, he had to. And I've reported on this before. I had a sense that he was being forced out. Now, based on this reporting, it pretty much confirms what many of us already knew. Or we had an idea. Because Joe Biden was too adamant about staying in the race. In the COVID thing, it kind of came out the blue. I mean, he wasn't showing symptoms of having COVID. People have had COVID. No, it's kind of you have symptoms for a while. We would have noticed something. All of a sudden, he's got deathly pills. So I'd like to know what happened with Joe Biden. What was the sickness that took him off the campaign trail? People got to realize the Vice President Kamala Harris had her own team around her with their own ambitions for what Kamala's future was going to be. They're not working in as a team with Joe Biden as much as they have their own team and they have shared interests and they have roles to play. But the whole time, Kamala is trying to make sure her path to succession, getting the opportunity to run, or whatever, like that's her main agenda, that's her goal, that's what her and her team are working towards. And of course, she be working back channels with Obama, talking to Chuck Schumer, trying to get a word in with Nancy, and the die was cast. That was it. It's a wrap. So now this is where we are. Kamala Harris goes from VP to choosing a VP. You know, I've been wondering why they won't pull Biden all the way out of the game. I mean, he's already said he's not going to run again. He's not given a reason for not running. But to everyone, most voters are looking at it like he's got some health issues. They look at that cognitive decline and all these things. But if Joe Biden is unable to run the country in January, who's running it now? Who's been running it for the last 3.5 years? I don't think it's been Kamala. Or has it been Kamala? I don't think Biden would allow her to run anything. Because, you know, this whole thing like Joe Biden is a Saint Joe Biden. He's such a thoughtful, gracious person. I don't buy that. Anybody running for president, anybody who wants to run for president enough that they run 3 times, that's a person that's ambitious, okay? That's what that is. It's not somebody, oh, I got to do this because I'm called to duty and all this other nonsense that they want to sell us on. I don't buy that for a second. Joe Biden didn't do all this work to become president just to have to bow out. He was forced out. His decision between being humiliated in the annals of history for eternity, yeah, that's not a decision. That's not a choice. It's like a choice without a choice. You understand what I'm saying? All right. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Subscribe and cut on all your notifications. I'll see you tonight on the Tim Black Show, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Wolfpack.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.